Okay. Whatever you say will be taken down and used as evidence against you. Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Bhalava Girivaradhari Gopijana Bhalava Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Rajajana Ranjana Nandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopijana Balaba Girivaradhari Gopijana Balaba Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jayam Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivajagacharya Ashtotara Sata Shri Sriman A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Kota Vaishnavinda Ki, Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Go Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki, Shri Vrindavan Dharma Ki, Shri Mayapur Dham Ki, Ganga Maya Ki, Yamuna Maya Ki, Tulasi Deva Ki, Bhakti Deva Ki, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki, Lord Chaitanya's Harinam Sankirtanam Ki, Brihat Madanga Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram Ki, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Madhava Ki, Shri Shri Radha Govinda Ji Ki, Go Premanandi, O glorious to the assembled devotees, O glorious to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvasesha Sunyavadi, Pastyachadeshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chaksharanmalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Upam Sahagajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savaduttam Bharijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Krishna Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmanya Taya Cha Jagadataya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, welcome devotees this morning to this wonderful event of today. We're having, I'm just trying to get the screen, Rasika, with our two temples, our two candidates on the screen and nobody else on the screen. Or maybe me, I don't know how to do that.
Speaker, no. Speaker.
Yeah, that's one. Can we get all three on there, Rasika? I've only got Govinda Dweep right now. Hare Krishna. Govinda Rupini. Hare Krishna. Now we've only got that. Now we have. There we are. Hare Krishna. Now we have Lalitanath and Govinda Rupini Mataji. And we can't see Amala. Oh, maybe we can. It's because of my screen. There he is. Okay, I've got it. Hare Krishna. So we would like to encourage and congratulate you all there for taking this step forward in your spiritual lives today on our eternal path. Devotional service is eternal. It's, we may think, oh, it's a practice to an end, but we're ever growing in Krishna consciousness. It has no end. Ever expanding. So today we have the responsibility on behalf of Srila Prabhupada, on behalf of our disciplic succession. We have the responsibility to connect Amala Bhakta Prabhu and Govinda Rupini to the mantra diksha. Traditionally, when one talks of diksha, one refers to mantra diksha, particularly the Vedic Upanayam, the Gayatri Mantra, which is well known throughout the world, the specific Vedic Gayatri, which was originally emanating from the sound vibration, the flute, Krishna's flute, heard by Lord Brahma. Primordial sound, you could say. And this Gayatri Mantra is chanted by particularly, of course, amongst Indians. Many, even young children, receive upayan at a certain age, and they chant this mantra, which is chanted by all branches of disciplic succession. Even the Mayavadis chant this mantra. Even in the Western world, there are groups of maybe practitioners of some kind, New Age or whatever, yoga, who chant the Vedic Brahma Gayatri Mantra. They may have different objectives while chanting it. Some are chanting it for material reasons, some for liberation, merging, and some to focus their attention on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So today we're going to read one verse from Bhagavatam. Before we do that, I'm going to share screen for a second. If I can find where I'm sharing screen, I think this is it here. You should be able to see it. I can see. I think they can. I think Janananda Prabhu in Wellington in Australia. Excuse me. Please forgive me. I hope you'll forgive me for that dreadful mistake. One of the, to err is human. One of the limitations of conditioned souls to make mistakes. So it's not Australia. Australia is an island off the coast of New Zealand, some distance off the coast of New Zealand. So Wellington is, of course, is in New Zealand, Holy Land, and Janananda Prabhu is facilitating from there our Zoom program today. So we'll just chant this mantra. Again, I didn't ask the question. As far as I understand, there is no fire yogya taking place in either venue. If there is, once we finish this, you can let me know. Or do something else if there is. But this we can chant together. Now, normally it's preceded by Om. All Vedic mantras are preceded by Om. So we'll chant this together. Om Apavitra Pavitrova Sarvavastam Gatopiva Yakshmaret Pundarikaksham Sabhayabhyantarakshuchihi. I apologize, we don't have the diacritic marks there. I thought I did. I have to correct that. So this is a mantra which we traditionally chant before proceeding on with an initiation ceremony or any yogya, practically speaking. A mantra for purification, normally accompanied by achaman. But in this mantra we see either pure or impure, or having passed through all conditions of material life. If one can remember the lotus-eyed Krishna, he becomes externally and internally clean. And this is the essential, you could say, life objective goal of initiation, is to remember Krishna. The ceremony is only to help to solidify, to fortify this goal, to become Krishna conscious. It's another step on this path. Govinda, Rupini, and Amala Bhakta have already accepted Nam Diksha, chanting the holy name of Krishna. And now another step forward, Mantra Diksha, to assist us on this journey forward in our spiritual lives. Now we'll hear a little bit more about that maybe in a few minutes. But first I'm going to read from the 11th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's see, we could chant the words together. and I can't hear you when you repeat, so it's a little strange to try to do that. I'll just go through it word for word. First the verse, then word for word. So this is 11th canto, 27th chapter, verse number 11. You can chant along if you wish with me. Sandyo pastyari karmani vadena choditani me pujam thai kalpayat samyak sankalpak karma pavanim Sandyo pasyari karmani vedena choditani me pujam thai kalpayat samyak sankapa karma pavanim. One more time, but I'll chant Om Namo first. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sandyo pasyari karmani vedena choditani me pujam thai kalpayat samyak sankalpa karma pavanim. Sandyo pasyari karmani vedena choditani me pujam thai kalpayat samyak sankalpa karma pavanim. And the word for word, Sandhya, at the three junctures of the day, dawn, noon, and sunset. Upasti, worship, by chanting the Gayatri Mantra. Adi, and so on. Karmani, prescribed duties. Vedena, by the Vedas. Achoditani, recommended. My. Pujam, worship. Taihi, by these activities. Kalpayat, one should perform. Samyak sankalpaha, who has perfectly fixed his determination that the object of his endeavor will be the personality of Godhead. Karma, the reaction of fruitive work. Pavanim, which eradicates. So there's words, many important words in this verse, familiar, some of them. Sankalpa there, perfectly fixes determination. It's at initiation, this is one of the essential principles, is that one makes a commitment, maybe a vow, promise, and sankalpa. It should be fixed. One should be fixed in his determination to persevere, continue, complete, whatever it may be, that particular vow or whatever it is. So when we accept initiation, to stick with that which we promised is very important. So the translation of this verse, fixing the mind on me, one should worship me by his various prescribed duties, such as chanting the Gayatri Mantra at the three junctures of the day. Such performances are enjoined by the Vedas and purify the worshipper of reactions to fruitive activities. So we're back on now. Maybe we can see the two venues as well. Can we get them, Rasika? Here they come. Right. Although it is described and discussed in Chaitanya Charitamrita, even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu indicates that the chanting of the holy name of Krishna does not wait for formal initiation. Anyone can chant the holy name. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave the holy name to everyone, not considering their eligibility. However, in order to become steady. Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Natibi. The Goswamis were chanting a fixed number of mantras of the holy name. So in this age particularly, when most people are quite disturbed, attached to, we could say, unclean or unfavorable habits, our acharyas, particularly Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, officially established Namadiksha, initiation into the holy name, as an official, formal, you could say, ceremony, acceptance. One could say is not absolutely required. Generally, when the Vedas talk about Diksha, they refer to mantra or Gayatri Diksha, second, what we call second initiation, twice born, Brahmana initiation. This is the traditional usage of the word Diksha. Prior to the traditional Diksha, there is a purificatory period, Purushacharya, Panchapurushacharya, where the whatever, young man, whatever they are, undergoes various purificatory rites, Pancha Samskara, particular rites, which comprise of tapa meaning austerities, some kind of regulation. So we see in our Krishna consciousness movement, even before Namadiksha, what to speak of Mantra Diksha, traditionally Mantra Diksha. But Prabhupada gave this program as Guru Maharaj, and in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, there is indications in this regard, you could say, that this preparation for actual Mantra Diksha. In ISKCON, Prabhupada gave first initiation, and he said it's quite freely to give people a chance. Second initiation or Brahman initiation, Prabhupada was a little more, let's say, restrictive, a little more strict. But generally speaking, Prabhupada's standard was, if you follow the regulated principles and you chant on beads so many times every day, then one would be initiated in Namdiksha. And if one continued to do that after 6 months to a year, one would then receive Brahma Gayatri Mantra or Mantra Diksha. That was the normal circumstance established by Srila Prabhupada in the 70s, late 60s. So preparation, even from the Vedic point of view, after mantra, after Namdiksha, then the proof or the, say the test is undergone, that one performs tapa. Tapa meaning various austerities. The devotees, they follow regulative principles. It's an austerity, avoiding certain foodstuffs and so on, certain intoxicating substances, restraining one's sex, and avoiding frivolous activities, gambling, and so on. Austerity. One doesn't have to stand on one's head under the lake in Isras for 6 months. Right? Is that right, Manu? Is that the test they have to undergo? They have to go under the water in the lake, Lough Erne or whatever it's called, for 6 months, standing on their heads, right, without breathing. Well, I don't know what what is it, the Baltic Sea? The Baltic Sea in Denmark? Somewhere like that. You don't have to submerge yourself in the ocean for 6 months. No. Different austerity, maybe devotional service of positive kind and restraining oneself from various sinful activities. Tapa, pondra. Generally, that's marking the body with certain symbols or whatever. So what is our pondra? We mark our bodies with tilak, the names of Lord Vishnu on the various relevant parts of our body to purify, protect us. And then we may receive Nam, a name. Nam can also be the holy name. But we receive a name. This is also part in devotional service, Das or Dasi. This is our name. We're all Das or Dasis. And then when we receive mantra, in this case, the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, and which is Vedic mantra, we also receive Pancharatriki mantras. Pancharatriki mantras as coming down from Narada Muni, basically, in the Narada Pancharatra and other Pancharatras, and in Hari Bhakti Vilas, describing various, depending on the disciplic succession we're in the disciplic succession coming from Madhvacharya, Lord Chaitanya, originally from Lord Brahma, and so on. So we have our Pancharatrika, or specific mantras, which are suitable for the particular objective goal. The various mantras are specific to assist us to achieve our goal. And what is our goal? Who can say what our goal is? How many of you got a goal? Okay, the goal of our lives is to what? Be happy? Okay, good. Our goal of our life is to get free of sinful reactions. Very good. We just heard that. The goal of our life is to go to heaven. Yes, definitely. Get famous. Get rich. Have a nice girlfriend, boyfriend. Goal of our life to be, successful. Or maybe to, if we give failure in all those endeavors, we may desire to merge into the Brahman, give it all up and become homogeneous with the Brahman. Or maybe different goals. So on different lines of parampara, Mayavadis have their object goal. Others, even within the realm of devotional service, there are different goals. And, in worshiping Krishna in various features or in various ways. The different persons, they have on different paths, karma kanda path, jnana kanda path, and bhakti kant. Different paths are there with different conscious goals. And generally the practitioner will meditate on certain maybe sounds, certain forms, which are meant to facilitate the achievement of their goals. Within Krishna conscious, those who are in the movement of Lord Chaitanya, of course, our meditation is upon the Supreme Lord. So when people chant this mantra, particularly the word Savitur, Om is the standard address of all mantras, the spiritual sound vibration, which goes before practically all mantras, Vedic mantras. So we have Savitur in this mantra, which for materialistic persons, generally speaking, goes to the sun. Word Savitur has various meanings. Sun is the most common one, the sun which illuminates the whole universe. On page one's respects to the sun. But for those who are others paths, some impersonalists see this Savitur as the light, because the word Savitur can refer to sun, which is of course light, but the impersonalists see it as the Brahmana effulgence, the origin of, you could say, the light of this universe, which is a little bit more closer to the mark. Others see it as being fire in general. Can also refer to the individual's consciousness. But for those who are Vaishnavas particularly, this Savitur refers, we could say, the original Savitri, the spiritual, originally coming from Radharani, is Krishna himself. And others will meditate on Vishnu, or various forms of Lord Vishnu, etc. But for the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, This Savitar, we focus on the eye, the Supreme Person. The sun is the eye of Krishna. It's one of Krishna's, you could say, ways he looks into the universe. But we ultimately, some on the Paramatma also. But their focus is upon that original personality of Godhead with his eternal construct, Radharani. So it's not just a mantra which has a fixed, you could say, understanding of God. It's a very, very significant mantra, perhaps the most famous, amongst the most famous of all the Vedic mantras. And for the Vaishnavas, it's also for them. It's said that the chanting of the Brahma Gayatri Mantra is very powerful if chanted with attention. And generally speaking, this Gayatri Mantra was only chanted by men. It can evolve in, especially if one doesn't have the devotional spirit, it can evolve in hardening of the heart. Heart becomes hard. It doesn't have to, because for a Vaishnava, by practicing devotional service and focusing on Radha and Krishna, one's heart becomes soft. Softened. It doesn't mean weak. It means that it's a crust of material conditioning is broken. The ice melts. The hardness in the heart becomes melted. That steel-framed heart. Open up to the holy name of Krishna, to help us to open. When we chant the Maha Mantra, one heart will be open. It won't be closed with material desires or offensive mentalities, etc. So to remove mental speculation and other inebrieties, attentive chanting of the Brahma Gayatri Mantra with the understanding of its ultimate focus, which is on the lotus feet or the beautiful face of Krishna, emanates from Krishna's flute, that which draws the attention of Radharani and all the residents of Vrindavan. One can contemplate like that. That's the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, which is in mostly, and Prabhupada did not place a lot of time emphasis on the mantra. Not much importance played. It's a matter of our own, it's to say, application, taking it seriously. Of course, one should take it seriously as much as we can. But it's also mentioned this helps to remove mental speculation from the heart when we focus with attention. But the other mantras, the Pancharatriki mantras, are sixfold in our line. In other lines, they may be different. That's up to the discretion of the acharyas to select which Pancharatriki mantras are applicable or suitable for the candidates. So our acharyas in our line have selected these Pancharatriki mantras, which of course we're not going to say, but specifically the approach to Krishna consciousness is over and over and over again mentioned. We go through first through Guru and then Gauranga before we approach Radha Krishna. So these Pancharatriki mantras are arranged in this way to first meditate and approach the spiritual master, meditate upon and take shelter of the spiritual master. Then the same with Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu and his followers. And finally, Radha and Krishna. So this is kind of, you could say, the step-by-step development as we chant the Brahma Gayatri mantras. Now, another aspect, which more than you could say the theology of the Gayatri Mantra or even the meditation on the mantras, is there's different ways. One is the mantra itself, two, the goal of the mantra, three, the practice of how we approach the mantra, and four, what is the point of it? So Prabhupada, more than anything, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj also, at least externally, more than anything, emphasized as an important aspect of their devotional service, twofold. One, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj himself gave because of preaching. In India, it doesn't make so much difference in Denmark. I doubt whether you go on the street in Copenhagen or Esbjerg or wherever you are in Denmark, whether people ask you, wait a minute, you're preaching, are you a Brahmin? Do people ask that in Denmark? Who are you to tell me what the truth is? Are you a Brahmin? Ever anyone come up to you on the street like that? Maybe one Indian once in a while. Very rare. Or in Belfast. Manu? Where are you? You go on the street in Dublin or Belfast, do the local Irish people say, are you a Brahmin? Are you a Brahmin? You're not a Brahmin. I can't listen to you. You're not a Brahmin. Right? I doubt whether anyone ever says anything like that. They don't care less. They don't have no idea what is a Brahmin, something, maybe a caste thing in India or something, if they know anything at all. It's not important. But Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj introduced it in India because it is important. People are unfortunately a little bit on the bodily platform of life. So this was a very useful, let's say, title when one's preaching Krishna consciousness. And to show, now the important thing is, and again, in the West, it may not be such a relevant in a sense, it is actually, but it may not seem to be, but that a Vaishnava, one who is a devotee of Krishna, is ultimately more than a Brahmin. The goal of the Brahma Gayatri, or Brahma initiation, is to realize Brahman in whatever feature it is. So a Vaishnava is supposed to be one who's already understood, at least if not realized, what is the Parabrahman, supreme Brahman from which everything else emanates. So he's already more than a Brahmin in that sense. Of course, there are qualities involved, and they should manifest. In the Vedic system, those qualities may be picked up from one's family or culture around you. They may be already inherent in the living entity due to being in the mode of goodness. And in a Vaishnava, by practicing devotional service, if we're not born in a situation where those qualities are inherent or develop quickly, then in the practice of devotional service is expected that the qualities, you can read them in the Bhagavad Gita in brief, or in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the 7th and 11th cantos, if you want to find out more about the qualities of a Brahmana. And amongst those qualities, truthfulness. Prabhupada would emphasize 4 more than any others: truthfulness, cleanliness, austerity, and mercy. And they are topics in of themselves. We don't have time to go into details there. But truthfulness, talking according to the Vedic directive, it's not just a material truthfulness that may be there, but the real thing is to base one's conclusions, the Vedic conclusion, on the scriptural conclusion, to speaking truthfully. Being honest about one's own situation, not being non-duplicitous, another very important aspect of a Brahmin. He's truthful, non-duplicitous, straightforward, not duplicitous, honest in that sense, honest about themselves, a Brahmin. Of course, a Brahmin is always very forgiving. That's another major characteristic of a Brahmana, forgiving. And a Vaishnava, in one sense, has nothing to forgive because he never sees anyone else. He never takes offense towards anyone. But we may not be on that level. But a Brahmin is always forgiving and merciful. to all living entities, doesn't want to cause harm to any living entity, be it human or non-human. A Vaishnava, a Brahmin, does not wish to commit any kind of harm to anyone, including, doesn't want to commit harm to themselves either, because what does it mean, harm to the self? Well, in the material world, we're harming ourselves automatically, you could say. But harming the body and mind, doing things which are not recommended in Shastra or not appropriate to one's level of maturity, undergoing austerities which are not recommended, torturing one's body. This is in the mode of ignorance. It's not in the mode of goodness. So we do undergo austerity, but it's according to the direction of Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu, not our mental speculation or our dreams, false pride, something, mode of ignorance. So mercy is not just the negative side, not causing harm to others, but it's the positive side, doing good, utilizing our body, keeping it healthy, using it in Krishna's service, engaging others in Krishna's service, spreading the message of Krishna consciousness, just like now we are gearing up, and maybe you are also gearing. Gearing is that word, gearing up, getting ready for. What are we getting ready for? Breakfast. We're getting ready for breakfast here in Mayapura. Maybe you are there too in Govinda Dweep and in Denmark. We're getting ready for breakfast, but what else are we getting ready for? In a few days' time, maybe already started, I don't know. What is that? Probably you've got it. I couldn't hear very much.
That's it. Christmas marathon ki jai.
Christmas, Jesus Christ, a marathon for Jesus Christ, is it? Putting Bibles on the street, Jesus, we can go out and preach Jesus' gospel. Well, in one sense, yes, because Jesus is the son of Krishna, we could say. So in that sense, yes, we worship the representative of the Lord, even more than the Lord sometimes. So we call it Christmas marathon or the Prabhupada book marathon. It's a tapa, austerity. It's also a sign of mercy. Wonderful way to act mercifully. By acting mercifully, one can develop the consciousness or the quality of mercy. And austerity, we've mentioned already, restraining our senses from the objects of the senses, engaging our senses in serving Krishna, following principles and so on, chanting a certain number of rounds, getting up early in the morning, and then cleanliness. Cleanliness, Prabhupada said, is next to godliness. Sometimes he would say this is the number one quality, sometimes truthfulness. But cleanliness is so important with mind, body, and clothes, and words, and everything. Being clean as we can. Nothing's totally clean in Kali Yuga. There's always some fault. But nonetheless, as clean as we can, particularly internally, by chanting the Mahamantra attentively, without offense. So cleanliness, these are the main qualities Prabhupada would emphasize, of course, being learned and self-controlled and knowledgeable and so on and so forth, are also humble and tolerant, are also very important qualities. But practically these four are mentioned primarily as the main qualities which we are practically trying to apply in our lives for all devotees, not just because we've taken mantra diksha, but all devotees wouldn't be expected to live by these qualities in their lives. This is a Vaishnava being more than a Brahmin should automatically have these qualities also, amongst many others. So then the other side of it, preaching was one side of it, why Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj introduced as more or less a regulated principle in the Gaudiya Math, not entirely or exclusively, but very much so. a principle to be undergone or taken responsibility of mantra diksha for preaching, to facilitate the preaching, and then for the individual personality to solidify our commitments and their responsibilities in devotional service. But on the other side, especially, we don't know if I say especially, but we can definitely say, in the case of our Srila Prabhupada, was to facilitate much of nectar devotion, for instance, is focused, at least the first part, is focused around the worship of the Lord in various forms, particularly in the worship of puja and deity worship. So this is the fifth one of the Pancha Samskaras, Pushcharyas, which have to be undergone before official initiation. Now, one may not be directly yajna, it's called yajna, directly engaged in devotional service before mantra diksha, but one will maybe also, in terms of understanding, in terms of preparation, in terms of worshipping the Lord by offering the fruits of one's work to the Lord and bowing down before the Lord and serving the Lord in desires in various ways. So this is yajna, the fifth, and then Brahman initiation is being given many times because we haven't got enough pujaris. I don't know if you've ever experienced that in any of your temples. No, not in Govinda Dweep. You have the pujaris coming out of the lake every day, right? They just kind of manifest out of the lake. You have no problem whatsoever. In most temples, however, we do have a problem, and oftentimes there's a bit of a back and forth between necessity and eligibility and time and desire, and so many different factors are involved. But let's say necessity is definitely one of them. So Prabhupada, for the sake of spreading this movement, establishing temples all over the world with deities, gave the Brahman initiations, expected devotees who take second initiation to be serious, expected them to worship the deity, different activities of the Brahmins, to worship the deity, to engage others in deity worship according to their eligibility, to teach, to study, to receive charity, to give charity. The activities of a Brahmin, and then the qualities of a Brahmin we briefly mentioned. So like that. So those 5 preparations are there in our Krishna consciousness movement. And we move on. Yeah. So Prabhupada, many. Some pinpoints. I just mentioned now some pinpoints. I just spoke a little bit. The Gayatri Mantra is to help tame the restless mind. The mind tends to be somewhat restless in our modern day and age. So to help tame it like a wild animal. Now, Gayatri, we heard earlier on in the verse we read from Bhagavatam, should be chanted at the 3 sandhyas. Sandhyas means junctions. When the sun rises, the sun sets, and more or less the sun is in the center. Now, when Prabhupada was asked when should we chant, he said morning, noon, and evening, because that's what the verse says. He wasn't very specific about the timing, but sometime in the morning, preferably before the sun fully rises, and the same thing in the evening, preferably. But we all know that you may be living in a place like Denmark or even further north. You may be living in Norway, top of Norway, and in the summer, the sun hardly sets. In the winter, it hardly rises. So you might get away with 1 Gayatri a year. 1, 2, maybe 3. 3 Gayatris a year. No, that's not what Prabhupada, it means, because mostly this was understood in India. Pretty much you can do like that, being almost in the center, almost on the, not quite, at least in the tropics. So it kind of pretty much the same time all year round. But we have to adjust or not? No, not necessarily. We chant sort of roundabout. When you get up, Prabhupada said, and taking your bath with fresh cloths, you chant Gayatri. So we chant it in the morning and then around about noon and then sometime in the evening. This is the idea of chanting the mantras like that. Gayatri Devi herself is in fact said to be a personification of the Sandhyas. So when we miss one Sandhya, we're missing Gayatri. We're missing her mercy. And it's a little offensive to miss her. She's there waiting for us and we don't turn up. We said we're going to meet her at 6 o'clock or whatever it is, morning, noon and evening, and we don't turn up. You can imagine making an appointment with someone you don't turn up. It's not very polite, to say the least. Maybe downright offensive, depends. It may be because we had other services or some distraction was there. That's understood, sometimes happens. But in general, we should, like we try to pay attention to the Maha Mantra, we should pay attention to Gayatri also. Well, we could speak on a lot of things. I don't know, our time is probably already expired, almost, another few minutes. What should we say? Oh. Let's see if there's something short and sweet. Gayatri, well, we could speak about Gayatri. Gayatri itself. Gaya means song, sound, song, tree. That which, you can tell me, Kshatri, Kshatriya, that which removes through sound, through song, removes all these, let's say, clouds in our consciousness, in the sky of our consciousness. Delivers the living entity, that which delivers us from birth and death in this world. By bringing us to our spiritual consciousness, our spiritual awareness. So today we have this honor to welcome officially these two devotees into the chanting of the Brahma Gayatri Mantra plus the Pancharatrika mantras, which are to be chanted regularly to assist. Sometimes our acharyas describe them as like small wheels within a big wheel. Sometimes you have small wheels operating just to help lubricate or accelerate the big wheel. So like that, these chanted attentively, regularly, these mantras can help in our growth in devotional service quite extremely. So facilitating the devotees to perform deity worship, officially speaking. One must be Brahmana initiated, cooking for the deity, worshipping the deity like this. It requires, generally speaking, exceptions maybe, but the general principle is that one should be second initiated, officially second initiated in order to worship the deity. So Prabhupada particularly put more emphasis on this than he did on the other aspects of Brahman initiation. So we hope, I don't know what scope you have in Denmark at this point of time, but certainly in Govinda, there's no shortage. There is no shortage, although you only need the Maha Mantra. In Govinda we have Maha Mantra. Maha Mantra is enough in itself, but still to help we need the Gayatri mantras, we need other devotees too. So don't leave it all up to the Maha Mantra. We're not quite on that level yet, but try to take this as seriously as we can, and the service responsibility. Now, another aspect is that taking Brahma initiation, sometimes, naturally, now I'm better than you, I'm more important, of course I am. I'm a Brahmin. I'm a Brahmin. Are you a Brahmin? Did you take Brahmin? Oh no, oh, I'm a Brahmin, listen to me. No, that means you're not a Brahmin. That means actually we're not a Brahmin at all. Brahmins should be displaying genuine humility, a mood of service towards others. Trinada peace, Nichena Toro peace, Hishna. Don't get proud. It is Krishna's grace to give us a chance to expand our service or to progress in spiritual life, to become empowered more to preach, whatever it is. Don't let pride enter into our consciousness. Okay, well, Lalita Prabhu and Manu Prabhu, that's the hour is finished. Are you there? 1 hour is up.
You're not in a rush in that sense.
You're not in a rush? That's another quality of a Brahmin. He has to be very patient. They might be in a rush sometimes to spread Krishna consciousness. Not in a rush. Okay, well, I will read a few things then. We've spoken, now I'll read something. Try to listen carefully. It's nice to hear some points. Divyam jnanam yato tadyat kuryat papasya sankshayam tasmad diksheti soprakta deshikaistat vako vidyahi. The process by which divine knowledge, divya, is given and sins are destroyed is called diksha by highly learned scholars who are expert in spiritual affairs. It's a verse from the Hari Bhakti Vilas. So that's referring, of course, to mantra diksha today. We've already mentioned the 5 pancha samskaras. They're described as the cause of intense devotion to Lord Hari. Usually sometimes, not usually sometimes, that doesn't make sense, but oftentimes the intensity is too intense. But devotional service is another meaning to intense. It doesn't mean stressful. It means that, it's like ever increasing. It is never enough. We want more distribution of books, more chanting, more service, more surrender. We want our devotional service to become more intense. Not tense, intense. Sometimes we become very tense, but intense. And the more, it means we got to get into devotional service, not just a spectator from the outside, because then we'll start to feel the kind of the external effects. Oh, it's too disturbing, the modes of nature and all this stuff. But when we get into the actual service, and the more we surrender ourselves to the service, that may be seen by others as, you were very intense, Prabhu. But actually, no. In one sense, spiritually, yes, but materially, no. There's no material motivation, no time to even think of material motivations. This is devotional service, full absorption, mantra yoga vicharina. So these activities are there to help the cause of intense devotion, complete absorption, enthusiastic devotion to Lord Hari. Let's see, I'm going to read this one or not? No, I don't read it. In Kali Yuga, what is the value of collecting hundreds of thousands? Oh, very good. Yes, something I wanted to talk about is the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam, as we heard earlier on about the various practitioners of those who chant the Gayatri Mantra, but for the Vaishnavas, the conclusive evidence, the praman, the essence of the Gayatri Mantra is revealed in Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the ultimate truth is revealed. That Savitur is revealed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So the study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, carefully studying it, is the actual realization of Brahma Gayatri Mantra, is achieved through the deep study of Bhagavatam. In Kali Yuga, what is the value of collecting hundreds of thousands of other scriptures if one does not keep Srimad Bhagavatam at home? So, dear devotees, I'm sure you all have it anyway, or anyone, if you don't have the Srimad Bhagavatam at home, what is the use of all the other books? Now, sometimes in ISKCON, we see hundreds and hundreds of varieties of books coming out on everything practically you can think about. It's so-called somehow or another being related to Krishna consciousness. But the essential scripture, sufficient in itself for God realization, is Srimad Bhagavatam. How can a person be considered a Vaishnava in Kali Yuga if Srimad Bhagavatam finds no place in his house? That's a good one for preaching. Okay, if you go to a devotee, no, I don't, I've got many books I have to finish. But here it states, how can a person be considered a Vaishnava in Kali Yuga if Srimad Bhagavatam finds no place in his house? Even if he is a learned Brahmin, such a person should be considered lower than a dog eater. Ooh. Oh, learned Narada Muni. Wherever Srimad Bhagavatam is present in Kali Yuga, the Supreme Lord goes there with the demigods. A person who faithfully recites one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam every day attains the fruit of reading all the other 18 Puranas. Jai. That verse is from the Puranas, from Skanda Purana, actually. The Puranas is from the Skanda. Let's see what she read next. Okay, here we go. Just to continue with the same vein of thought. Artoyam Brahmasutranam Bharatata Vinirnayaha Gayatri Bhasya Ruposo Vedartha Paribringhitaha. The meaning of the Vedanta Sutra, which was Vyasadev's own commentary on the Vedas, the meaning of the Vedanta Sutra is present in Srimad Bhagavatam. The full purport of the Mahabharata is also there. The commentary of the Brahma Gayatri is also there, and fully expanded with all Vedic knowledge. So everything is there in the Bhagavatam. The word Brahma, as in the Brahma Gayatri Mantra, means Brahma Vidya, or transcendental knowledge. The word Gayatri of the same is derived from joining two Sanskrit words, Ganat and Trayate. Ganat means musical sound, and Trayate means to achieve the final stage of enlightenment. Thus, Brahma Gayatri is said to be that melodious sound which grants us the highest fulfillment in the world of consciousness. The Agni Purana states, Gayat Tani Shastrani Bhagam Pranam Stataivacha Tataksmiteyam Gayatri Savitri Yatraivacha Prakasini Cha Savitur Bhagupta Sarasvati. Nice, yeah? Anyway. Verse, one line missing. I don't know where it went. It is called Gayatri because it sings about Gayati, or illuminates the Vedic mantras. It brings light. You know, we have so many opportunities here, but we need light to see. You know, even if a room is full up with delectable foodstuffs, without light, you can't see. There's some light needs to be there. So it's like that. It's like Gayatri is said to be like the light which lights things up so we can see the truth which is right in front of us, but we can't see it because we're in darkness. It is called Savitri because it reveals Savita, the creator, and it is called Saraswati because it is the essence of speech. Savitri, as in Savitur of Brahma Gayatri, means the source of all intelligence. Ultimately, that Savitri is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the source of all intelligence. This is confirmed by Ramananda Roy in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Eta tattva chitte kaila prakashanam brahmake vedayena padayila narayan antayami ishvarera evati haye Bahirena kahe vastu prakase vidaye. You, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have manifested many transcendental truths in my heart. This is exactly the way Narayan educated Brahma. The supersoul within everyone's heart speaks, not externally, but from within. He instructs the devotees in all respects, and that is his way of instruction. Atavena ninandasya traimurti mai gatihi puranti pravivas vesasu mukhabjani swayambhuva gayatrim gaitastasmad adigatya sarojaja sanskritas chariguruna vijatang agamattatah. Then the Gayatri is threefold form. That is the form of Om, Aum, Mother of the Vedas, emanated as the beautiful, harmonious sequence of the song of the divine flute of Sri Krishna, entering the ears of Brahma. That melodious sound was swiftly manifest within his mouth as the Gayatri. Thus, Brahma, who was born of the lotus flower, received Gayatri as it emanated from the divine flute song of Sri Krishna. And so he was initiated by the Supreme Lord. The original Guru. He was initiated by the Supreme Lord, the original Guru, and elevated to the status of twice born. So we should be also, like Lord Brahma, initiated into this Gayatri Mantra. So we can increase our absorption in remembering Krishna and spreading that remembrance to others. The business of a Brahmin is to teach others how to become Krishna conscious. By one's actions, by one's words, and so on, by one's teachings. So we will finish there, and in a few minutes we have to work this out, but we will have to give the mantras to the two candidates, the Gayatri mantras. Is that okay? Are you still there?
Sure.
Haven't run away yet.
Not yet, not yet.
No, you have to keep them locked up on the islands. Don't let anyone out of the island. Put some barbed wire fences around the island, okay? So they can't escape. How big is your island, Lalita?
It's quite, for compared to Govinda Dream, it's quite large. It's, what is it? A few hundreds, like 700-800 square kilometers.
700 square kilometers?
Yeah, it's not our exclusive island.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say, my goodness.
Yeah, not yet, not yet.
700 square kilometer property, Kijai. That's bigger than Govinda Dweep, Manu. Can you imagine an island bigger than Govinda Dweep?
Govinda Dweep's, it's eternally expanding. It's forever.
It's expanding. Is it? The lake is drying. The lake is drying up, or what's happening over there?
Well, yeah, you need the eyes to see how expansive it is.
Okay. Well, this will help you when you chant the Gayatri Mantra. I can't get into the other Gayatris, the other mantras, but they'll help you to see the unlimited nature of the absolute truth, which is right with us now. We just don't see that form of the Lord. Okay, well, I would recommend the candidates, especially Amala Bhakta, Govinda Nandi. Rupini is probably more into worshipping the deity, but read the Brahma Samhita. It's interesting how Prabhupada introduced the Brahma Samhita so early in our movement. It's kind of fascinating, right? In very, very early days, and the Brahma Samhita was one of the early texts, maybe because Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj had written English translations for it, but it was a very early text. It's maybe very beyond our, you could say, our realized capacity, but to hear it is so powerful. And the purports, even if you can't understand the English or whatever language, are very powerful. Okay, well, we'd like to thank you all very much for being with us today. And how will we do the next section? There's no Yogya, is that right, Lalita?
Yeah, we opted against it. We will have Kirtan instead, and then whenever there's an opportunity later on, then Amala Bhakta who can sit in a Yogya there.
Okay, so we'll have a little Kirtan now as the real Yogya. This is the Yogya for Kali Yuga, as you all know. And yeah, all things. In fact, it's interesting to note that although we aren't having a fire yoga, but the performance of any sacrifice or yoga is recommended. That one, Prabhupada recommends this, that one recite the pastimes of Bali Maharaj and Vamana Dev and so on, but we're not going to do that, don't worry. But it's interesting to note at the end of that recitation, how Shukracharya, in reply to Lord Vishnu, who questioned him upon what was Bali Maharaj's fault, what did he do that you had to curse him to go down to the lower planets? He said, actually, my lord, everything's orchestrated by you. He was faultless. This is all you're doing. He was a good way out of it. But he said he was faultless. And why? Because mantatas tantatas chidram, they are kalavastuta. That even if everything is wrong, practically speaking, we're not very Brahminical. We touch our noses and our ears and our mouths even sometimes, just like now I'm going to go like this, but an itch. If you're doing deity worship, you do like that, you've got to go and jump in Lake Lough before you come back and carry on with the deity worship. Right? Manu, is that what you have to do there? If any pujari goes like this in the middle of the deity worship, go and take a bath in Lough with your clothes on right now.
Yes.
Jump in the lake. They won't come back, don't worry. They will never do that again. But no, in Kali Yuga, there's so many shortcomings. We do it wrong. Even if you do the fire yoga, the wrong fuel, the wrong paraphernalia, the wrong direction, the wrong time, the wrong place, the wrong persons, the wrong mantras, everything's wrong, practically speaking. But Tava Sankirtanam, Anu, if one chants Sankirtan, the holy name of Krishna, everything becomes nischidram, faultless. This is the real Yogya for Kali Yuga, ocean of faults, Kalayadosha, Devajan, Asti Ekam, Mahanguna. One good quality, Ekam, Mahanguna, Kirtanad Eva Krishna. So let us chant that Kali Kaler Dharm Harinama Sankirtan, and then we'll conclude. And we have to work out maybe when we can give the mantras. When do you want that to be? Manu Prabhu?
We're just thinking maybe just after the class that we could, I know there's different people here now, but we were thinking of just having your obviously, that you're just here and Govinda Rupini and, we're going to have it in the temple room, but no one else is going to be here.
Okay, so you could be there just to show her what's going on.
Yeah, and Madam Mohan can do some translation as well.
Oh, yeah, translation. Translating into English, right? From Irish into English.
That's Irish too.
Some people think I'm Irish also. Western. And same thing in Denmark, Lalita?
Sure.
Okay, so first, ladies first, is that okay? Rasika, can we coordinate that, do you think? Are you still with us?
Yes, Maharaj.
If you can try to coordinate that with two parties with us today,
Yes.
And I'll just be here waiting, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have a little kirtan as the Yogya to purify everything, purify the whole world, purify the lakes, purify the islands, purify in our hearts, To make that lake of consciousness in our hearts pure. Flows the lotus feet of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Bolo, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, hey, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Om Bo Bhuva Satata. Oh, excuse me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Govinda Rupini Devi Dasi ki jai, Amala Bhakta Das ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, and please distribute as many books as possible ki jai. Okay, Prabhupada book marathon coming up, plenty of chance to distribute lots and lots of books this next month or so. Wherever you are, and I'm sure some devotees here from New Zealand and Australia and Fiji, and where else are we here? England and Czech Republic, Slovakia, India, Germany, Philippines, India, Malaysia, Denmark, New Zealand, Northern Ireland, and France. I think that's all the countries covered there. India. Several devotees from India. Hare Krishna, all glorious to Prabhupada. Haribol, everybody. Thank you. We wish you all a very safe journey on the path of Krishna consciousness. Right. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. Haribol, Haribol. Haribol.